This is going to be one of that video which you don't want to miss if you would like to know the future value of XRP, how high it can actually go, and what would be the basis of that action. Because we now are in a system where central banks are ruling money and they are right now jumping on central bank digital currencies. And how will this really impact XRP in terms of the price action? It will be confusing because we don't have a lot of announcements, but then we have to go deep to see like, okay, what's happening. Now, all of these are from different reports, news and all, but you are going to get into all of these where you will literally see this is the future. Let it be the clearinghouse, let it be the EBA, let it be SWIFT. All of them are on board. And while talking about central bank digital currencies, say comparatively greater central banks like Bank of Canada actually puts it here, right? So that's something really interesting for anyone who has XRP or anyone who is looking forward to buy XRP, because this is going to change the narrative in terms of the trading analysis and all. So the price is going to take off. You really want to know how things are going to evolve. This is going to be that one video which anyone who is interested in the future value of XRP don't want to miss. And listen to each and every bits and pieces, because this is going to be a lot of information. I would try my max to actually break it down, make it concise, and give you that understanding why this is going to be big, why XRP is going to take over the world. Now, you just got a lot of news recently, and now we are going through that, connected links, references, citations throughout to reach a calculated, well-educated guess, and we currently have an understanding that this is going to blow off anyone who is a naysayer for XRP. This is a scientific investor family where the normal, common retail guys learn how to become the world's next top 10%. Yes, the cryptocurrency market is kind of mixed. XRP was about to break 0.5, then what happens? Bitcoin just drops. It's like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. But anyway, we need a lot of time here to go through all of this. So we are jumping directly into that. Now, yes, these fundamentals, new payments, everything is really important. But what we are going to look at today is the deep connections and reality of network building. Here we are looking at the SWIFT to undergo massive upgrade. Is Ripple involved inside this? We need to actually see whether that is going to work, because SWIFT has like 11,000 financial institutions all over the globe, and they are well connected. Right now, they do everything. So when we look at these, what we are interested here is like something which is launched, great. And then what we want to look at is those who are going to launch, those who are doing the pilot programs. Because when we are looking at that kind of scenario, you kind of go here and you see like Singapore, Project Dunbar, great. Then you look at the next one, Malaysia, Project Dunbar. Then you look here and it's like, Thailand, CBDC bridge. We discussed in the last video, right? Then you come to South Africa, it's again Project Dunbar. So you're like, okay, all of these are kind of going in one range. So you have Project Arbor, which is in UAE, then Saudi Arabia, and then you have like Project Stella, Project Dunbar, Jasper. And you're like, okay, there's a lot of things happening in between central banks. What is the base of all this? It's going to be a huge question. Now, before we break that down, look at this. Recently, we had this happen in the XRP community where Ari actually was posting and talking about this. But at the bottom, then came Anthony coming to put this perspective here, like we may have something coming in announcement terms. Now, when they say a few weeks, I would say, okay, maybe November with the swell, even they're going to announce something big. Now, who knows? It can be earlier than that. Now, when we look at the recent updates from SWIFT, it's like SWIFT sets out blueprint for central bank digital currency network and how they are going to do. And this trial, which was conducted, is actually involving big guys like HSBC, Standard Chartered, and UBS. So understand the base here. The background is CBDC network for the world of money payments, and they are using HSBC, Standard Chartered, UBS, and others to actually come out to test what works and what does not. So now we go look at like what HSBC thinks, right? This is page 8, and you are here just looking at XRP. Now you can do this in World Bank documents and everywhere, and you get the same. So this is page 8, but what is this? This is from HSBC talking about payments, central bank digital currencies. And for payments, they give you this narrative. It's clear and easy understanding from HSBC, right? Then you go look at what Standard Chartered suggests. So Bill Winters, CEO of Standard Chartered, gave this, right? And this is from, Sidas. I never doubt that guy. He's one of the oldest and reputable guy. So we had digital currency underpin trade finance and money settlement system using as a medium of exchange Ripple's XRP for real-time cross-border payments. So one you got from HSBC, second you got from Standard Chartered. Now you really go look at what they are doing with the central bank digital currency narrative. So you can look at HSBC, then you can go look back at Standard Chartered, why they would be interested. They are one of the early investors in Ripple. One. Then if you look at things happened after that, Standard Chartered begins to use RippleNet for higher transaction speeds. So you kind of see like, okay, they are working together, they are investing, they are actually getting interested more and more. And why is that? Now, one of the reasons stuff which was new for me is Twitter being in the Interledger Foundation. Now, you have others like, W3C, Slack and all, but this really got my attention because recently I was going through the crypto Twitter and I happened to see like different stuff showing like Twitter is going to come up with its own payment system and that can help. And under Musk, I think that's going to be something really interesting and big. Now, why is that so important? Because when you look at the Interledger Foundation, you see like their focus area is on prioritizing systems. Okay, I think my boy is shouting in the mezzanine. Neglect that. Sorry. Now, when we look at all this and then go look at what Ripple was talking here as a new recruitment possibility, they actually give you this idea, Interledger protocol, PayString, which is kind of the PayID's new renamed item, and then the XRP Ledger. So they are going to connect XRP Ledger, Interledger, and PayID. Now think about a central bank digital currency. What we were talking about, possible central bank digital currency. Let it be from Bank of Canada, where they are talking about central bank digital currency and how it should be, or any general commercial banks like HSBC when they are talking about this new technology. It all comes down, boiled down into just one thing, and all of them actually runs like this. So here, when we are reading through different articles, we kind of get to understand like, okay, this really is happening in front of us. So here, Ripple's new tool set, which includes XRP Ledger, Interledger protocol, PayID or PayString, all of this is for central bank digital currencies. Now, this is 2 years old, right? We understand that. But what we want further to understand here in this essence is like, okay, there are things which are happening in front of us and we really don't want to miss through that. Say, for example, this one. When you look at this and try to read this, this is recent one. You need to know the understanding here. This is written by an individual who has enormous experience and credibility in this area. Some of Mike's key projects include establishment of low-value payment systems for SEPA and UK fast payments. And you have to understand, this is a guy who knows the in and out and has been in that area for a long time. And when such an individual gives you information like this, it's really hard for me to even think like, okay, I'm going to deny that. Okay, what is he saying? Say Mojalab has this concept built in, thanks for their use case of Interledger protocol, right? And then a mechanism for facilitating exchange of value between different ledgers. That's the Interledger protocol. Read further. This is really interesting because it actually gives you, like, we know the clearinghouse, Euro Banking Association, and SWIFT are using this exact mechanism for their movement. So it is built into most instant payment systems as best practices these days, and this kind of blows my mind out. Understanding Interledger protocol is going to be the base of everything, and we already talked about the possibility of Interledger protocol being the actual base on which commercial banks, central banks, everyone come in to move value in and around. And as you look at this, you need to understand further. It's not only that. It is going to be Interledger protocol as the base, great. But the governance model which they are eyeing, now understand these are really important. Now you got that from Jim Rickards first, and then here it's like Byzantine fault tolerance. So you need to look for projects which really have this governance model, because the central banks are not going to come out and say, we don't care about the security, because they do care a lot. Now, one of the bad stuff, which was before Ripple actually ruled out the private ledger for central banks, was like, okay, they were not interested in it because you don't get the privacy. It's kind of, public, and they don't really like that because they clearly gave that narrative here. But right now, when you go through that, you also have to understand, like, okay, the backend system may consist of what? Secure, private, and resilient data storage system. A set of public-facing access points. And now these are like, the actual network and how it is going to come out. Then you look at public distributed ledger technologies, and it's not good for them, right? It does not give them their privacy, and, governments and bureaucrats that really want to control, so they won't go for that. Rather, when you come down, permission distributed ledger technologies are similar to centralized ledgers from security perspective. So they are like, okay, control issuance, govern participation based on granularity and control, access management policy. You go through this and you are literally like, okay, everything they are talking about is being visualized here. And, when they really talk about the SWIFT new real-time gross settlement payment system and all of this, and again give you that narrative of who's going to be on different blockchains and own the nodes or run the nodes, and then coordinate the settlement across different platforms. And how is that working? It is working using Interledger protocol. So he actually gives you that easy understanding that this right now is on a lot of different payments. And it is clear here that it is like, that consensus mechanism, which right now is kind of the base, that's like the best practice these days. Read that again. It is built into most instant payment systems as a best practice these days. That's huge. Now, you go further. Say you come here, you want to look at what Interledger and the thought process from world bankers, right? So it is from World Bank, and then you are jumping on, I think, page 25, 26, that range. Okay, let's go here, say 25. And then you are looking at different stuff, and you're like, on ledger holds or escrow, third-party escrow. So they are really talking about central bank digital currencies, and then it comes here. And then for the fund transfers in between these, they are talking about something. What is it? Interledger protocol. Now, remember, earlier, as we started, we talked about different projects, and most of them, like this, is in Dunbar, Project Dunbar. Then you see MCBDC Bridge. Then you see, again, Project Dunbar. Then you come here, you see Project Dunbar. What is that really about? Right? It is really getting interesting. At least for me, it really is interesting. Now, as you go further, you see this Interledger protocol. You discuss through that cross-border payments, cross-ledger, cross-currency payments. They give you all the narrative and show you, look at this one. Great. Then we go down, and this is about what? Project Stellar. There's another project which central banks are working on. Now, when you look at these central bank projects, last one we talked about Dunbar, right? XRP Ledger as the base, testing through the payments. Now, this one is cross-ledger, cross-currency payments. In terms of central banks, they are trying to execute this. And as you come down, it's not just one time they are actually talking about that. They come to the bottom again and talk through the cross-ledger, cross-currency payments and how this can be solved using Interledger. And this is talked through the Interledger community. So you really have to understand, like, okay, they do have ILP summits going on. They do have a lot of big peoples inside that. Say ILP, Mojaloop and others, you see even, Gates and Melinda Foundation being inside that. So these are like the big guys with big money and access to a lot of different stuff in the world. So if they are saying something, let's not just forget that and say we don't want to do this. So here we look at this one, which is really old, and you cannot deny the fact that Ripple's proof of concept was done with the Bank of England. And inside that concept, if you have read that before, they clearly states that it works. It is a great technology, but you need the regulatory clarity. But this is back in 2017. So as they talked through this, the Ripple solution utilized the bank was built around the open source Interledger protocol that enables payments to be made across ledgers and networks. So everyone really know what this is about. And this is 2017 from Bank of England. And then recently you come here and like everything else, come back to this one again. So yes, things are changing and it's changing quickly. And you really want to get this understanding that Interledger is the future. And Interledger protocol settlement mechanism going to be the XRP ledger. And I'm like, that is going to be the best system ever. Now, you can go look at the project Stella, which is Bank of Japan to European Central Bank, and look through what they are talking about. You can do the same for Project Denver, which we've done in the last video. So I'm not going to repeat that. So you come here and talk about the interoperability, the cross-border payments, and why you need that seamless interoperability, and which actually takes you all the way back to Interledger protocol and how things are working. Now, if you don't know the basics, this is going to be a long read for you, and it's going to take you through what they think. And for the interoperability layer, you need to understand they are not afraid of bringing in a private sector guy. Several public and private sector initiatives has already explored this, enhancing interoperability. And that's what we just talked to about. And when you go through that, they're talking Bank of England explode wider interoperability. We just saw what they're going to do. And they're looking at what? A proof of concept was conducted on synchronized settlement payments of two ledgers under high value cross-border scenario. So you're going back to Bank of England's pilot project. Now then Bank of Canada and Monetary Authority of Singapore explored Interledger protocol. And what is it? Hashed time lock contract, which are also studied in the second phase of Project Stella. Now what is hashed time lock contract? Don't get confused, because it is confusing. The Interledger hash time lock agreements. So without saying Interledger, they actually gave you the other name or the how it actually works. So I'm like, okay, this is really, really interesting how this is going. I'm like, okay, no matter what, I'm not going to sell my XRP at these price ranges, because I think if central banks are going to do the high value payment on this one, the way the ledger is built, it is built as an appreciating asset into that system, right? So with each payments, you are going to get fees paid in XRP, which is going to be burned. So you are going to see something skyrocketing. Now that's common sense. The supply goes down, demand goes up. If these news is actually understood by the majority, imagine what would be the demand. Right now, when you go into the market, it is really interesting to see Bitcoin is slowing down. XRP is still trying to go up. Now, that's the market sentiment. It can change at any short term, because that's how the market actually works. Short term, it's like a voting machine, right? It can swing either ways. And I would most likely say, okay, coming back somewhere close to this range, 0.43 is actually better. So at least those who are now waiting aside saying, I'll buy the dip, will come back and enter into this. Technically, what that means is it is going to be a retest of this particular breakout, in which we need to understand that there was a double bottom pattern which was formed. We broke higher, we did not get a retest. So if we get a retest and then bounce, we should be really happy. So on that context, yes, this is going to be one of the biggest projects. But remember, the market is going to be crazy. The market may not completely understand that. and you see random coins pumping here and there. You see some of the other coins which do have fundamentals. I'm not saying it's only going to be XRP. I'm saying this is going to be the best asset which is solving almost every problems in the payments industry because of the way it was designed and built by the professionals to solve that one use case. It's not a ground where you come and build just small stuff. This is where you talk about the big things about money. And it's not about just everything else. It's about money and payments. So that's why this is going to succeed. It's going to get a lot of resistance from the status quo for that particular matter. But once that wall is broken, it's going to be huge. So you really need to understand that is going to be big. But at the same time, you have others which are going to do well in the markets. We have seen, like, imagine SHIB, Dogecoin bursting through like 500x, 1000x. I'm like, but that's how it is. If you think this is shit and then the market says like, okay, we like that, it just go up. So it does not care about what I or you think. It's like what the market thinks. But one thing is for sure, when these are going to be coming out as an announcement with the work from central banks, you are then going to see the masses will say, oh, it was not BTC, it's XRP. Let's jump into that. That's the point where you actually see, masses jumping onto this as the price goes higher and higher and higher. You get these FOMO coming in. So if you want to make money, you should buy low, sell high. So the common sense is buy low. And if you are looking at the chart right now, you feel like, okay, this is going higher. That's on a 4-hour chart. You then go on to a weekly chart, a monthly chart, and look at the top here or the recent one here. Compare to that one, you're way lower. So even if you think this is going to end only for $10, $50, $100, whatever you think, right now the price is below 0.5. So if you understand the opportunity, you do see the future, right? Now that's going to be the huge benefit of going through, taking your time through this. That's one of the reasons why I'm so strong in the position for XRP. We've been doing this from years and we understand how things are moving. And if you have been in XRP from 2017, you already know what explosion happens when the price action takes that control. Great. Now, inside this, yes, you want to actually look at different stuff and you want to look at different assets. And if you are looking at that and your portfolio has other assets than XRP, then yeah, you're welcome to look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where we discuss through the breakouts, put down the breakout calls, and where I buy, I sell, and other stuff based on my thought process for different assets and where I close and take profit, right? So if you are interested in that, you can look at that. So guys, if you really like the content, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That was a lot of time of research today and a lot of reading too. So I appreciate you hitting that like button. So that's it, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.